thinking about moving, but you're gonna wait until the interest rates go down.
That's not my story.
His call sign's Taskmaster. Fully conscious, but no choices. How many others are there? Enough.
When Marvel Studios released Black Widow in 2021, it wasn't just another superhero film. It was a long-awaited moment of closure for one of the franchise's most beloved and complex characters, Natasha Romanoff. After years of fans demanding a solo film for Scarlett Johansson's deadly yet compassionate spy, the movie finally gave her a spotlight that delved into her mysterious past, her family ties, and the emotional scars she carried long before she became an Avenger. Set between the events of Captain America, Civil War, and Avengers, Infinity War, the story explored the aftermath of Natasha's betrayal of the Sokovia Accords, showing her on the run and confronting the ghosts of her past in a way that was both personal and action-packed. From the very beginning, Black Widow established a grounded and human tone compared to many Marvel films that leaned on cosmic adventures and larger-than-life villains. Here, the threat was more intimate, a reflection of Natasha's own guilt and trauma. The film opened with a haunting flashback to her childhood in Ohio, where she lived with a seemingly normal family that turned out to be a cover for Russian operatives. This early glimpse into her youth gave audiences their first real look at what shaped Natasha into the assassin she became, showing how she was torn from a fake sense of family and thrust into the brutal world of the Red Room, a covert program that trained young girls into elite killers. As the story shifted to the present timeline, Natasha found herself hunted not by aliens or gods, but by her own past deeds. Her reunion with her sister figure, Yelena Belova, became the emotional anchor of the film. Florence Pugh's Yelena quickly became a breakout favorite, bringing humor, vulnerability, and sharp wit to every scene. Their sibling-like banter, full of teasing and grudges, balanced the darker themes of trauma and control that ran through the movie. Together, the two women embarked on a mission to dismantle the Red Room once and for all, seeking justice for the countless girls who had been manipulated, brainwashed, and turned into weapons by General Dreykov, the shadowy architect behind the program. One of the most striking aspects of Black Widow was how it balanced intense action with deep emotional storytelling. The film delivered on the spy thriller aesthetic fans expected high-speed chases through the streets of Budapest, daring escapes from prisons in the snowy wilderness, and explosive confrontations in the skies, but it also paused to explore the pain and guilt that had long haunted Natasha. The family reunion scenes with Yelena, Alexei, and Melina carried both humor and heartbreak. The dynamic among them was chaotic and tender all at once, showcasing the twisted bonds created by deception and survival. David Harbour's Alexei, also known as the Red Guardian, provided much of the film's levity with his exaggerated stories and fatherly pride, while Rachel Weisz's Melina brought a quiet intelligence and emotional depth that completed their dysfunctional family circle. The tone of Black Widow often shifted between dark realism and emotional warmth, mirroring Natasha's own internal conflict. Her journey wasn't about redemption through grand heroics. It was about confronting the truth and freeing others from the cycle of manipulation that once defined her life. This gave the movie a sense of personal stakes that many superhero films struggle to capture. Natasha's strength wasn't shown through her powers, but through her resolve and compassion, especially in her willingness to face her past head-on and take responsibility for the pain she helped cause. Visually, the film was grounded yet stylish. The action sequences were tightly choreographed, emphasizing hand-to-hand combat and agility rather than relying on heavy CGI. The Budapest sequence, in particular, stood out as a fan favorite, combining espionage tension with emotional undercurrents from Natasha's past. Later, the Red Room's final confrontation offered an impressive set piece, an airborne fortress collapsing in flames as Natasha and Yelena fought for freedom. Despite the spectacle, it never lost sight of the human element driving the conflict, and that balance was one of the film's greatest achievements. The villain, General Dreykov, embodied the systemic abuse and control that Natasha was fighting to destroy. Though not as physically imposing as some Marvel antagonists, his presence carried psychological weight. His manipulation of young women and his belief that they were disposable made him one of the MCU's most disturbing villains. The inclusion of Taskmaster, a silent, masked assassin capable of mimicking opponents' moves, added a layer of mystery and emotional tension. The eventual revelation of Taskmaster's identity connected back to Natasha's own guilt, transforming what initially seemed like a standard fight into a moment of reckoning and compassion. What made Black Widow especially meaningful was that it arrived after Natasha's death in Avengers. Endgame. Audiences already knew her fate, and this movie served as a chance to celebrate her legacy while offering emotional closure. By the end, Natasha's journey felt complete, not because she found peace, but because she finally faced everything that made her who she was. It was a farewell that felt earned, emphasizing her humanity more than her heroism. The performances across the cast elevated the material beyond typical action fare. Scarlett Johansson delivered a nuanced portrayal, blending toughness with vulnerability. Florence Pugh brought a fresh energy that hinted at the future of the MCU's grounded heroes. David Harbour's comedic timing and Rachel Weisz's quiet authority added richness to the story. Their chemistry made the movie feel more like a character-driven drama wrapped in the body of an action thriller. Musically, the score captured the somber yet resilient spirit of Natasha's story. The haunting choral opening theme underscored the tragedy of the Red Room, while the more orchestral and percussive tracks fueled the tension of the film's action scenes. The soundtrack helped maintain the film's emotional through-line, giving weight to both its quiet and explosive moments. Beyond its narrative, Black Widow also represented an important milestone for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It was the first film in Phase 4 and the first MCU movie led by a solo female Avenger. After years of ensemble appearances, Natasha finally got the attention and depth her character deserved. It also opened doors for new characters like Yelena to carry forward the torch, setting the stage for future stories. Yelena's presence was especially significant, as she embodied the next generation of heroes shaped by pain, but driven by purpose. The film's production journey added another layer to its impact. Originally slated for release in 2020, it was delayed multiple times due to the global pandemic, which only heightened anticipation. When it finally hit theaters and streaming, audiences were eager not just for a new Marvel film, but for the return of the cinematic experience itself. The release became a symbol of resilience for both fans and the industry, marking a return to shared storytelling on the big screen. Critically, the movie was praised for its performances, tone, and emotional depth, though some noted that it came later than it should have. Many fans agreed that Natasha's story deserved this spotlight years earlier, before her sacrifice in Endgame. Still, the film's timing gave it a sense of reflection, serving as both a prequel and a eulogy. It reminded audiences of what made Natasha special, not her powers or missions, but her humanity and her heart. The relationship between Natasha and Yelena remained one of the most talked-about aspects of the film. Their exchanges brought humor and tenderness to the narrative, from Yelena mocking Natasha's superhero landing to their tearful goodbye. Their bond felt authentic, rooted in shared trauma, but growing into mutual respect and sisterly love. It's this emotional foundation that allowed Yelena to become a compelling continuation of Natasha's legacy in future Marvel projects. By the end of Black Widow, Natasha had reclaimed her identity not as a weapon, but as a person. She liberated those who had been trapped in the same system that once imprisoned her and found a semblance of family that wasn't defined by lies. The quiet confidence in her final moments, as she prepared to reunite with the Avengers, showed a woman at peace with who she had become. The film's post-credit scene brought an emotional yet forward-looking twist, connecting the past and future of the MCU. It tied into later storylines and hinted at Yelena's future involvement in upcoming projects, ensuring that Natasha's influence would continue even after her death. In many ways, Black Widow was both an origin story and an epilogue. It peeled back the layers of a character audiences had known for over a decade, revealing the pain, love, and courage beneath the surface. It wasn't about introducing new cosmic threats or setting up massive crossovers. It was about giving one of Marvel's most enduring heroes the dignity and depth she had long deserved. As the credits rolled, there was a sense of gratitude among fans. After years of being the heart of the Avengers without ever getting her own story, Natasha Romanoff finally received her due. The movie stood as a tribute to everything she represented: resilience, sacrifice, and the strength to rise above manipulation and fear. Black Widow was more than a superhero film. It was a human story about freedom, identity, and the power of choosing one's own destiny. It reminded audiences that even in a world of gods and monsters, the bravest heroes are often the ones who fight for their own humanity.